Alright, what's up guys? Jade's Corner back here again for a new video, and in today's video I'm going to be ranking all 8 seasons of the Vampire Diaries from worst to best. Now, I know I'm not supposed to be technically making videos about this until 2021, but I decided, it's just seasons being ranked, so I'm going to rank them right now before I get started on talking about and reacting to the show. So I'm also going to do this with Supernatural, which will come out sometime this month too. I'm not really sure on the date yet, but yeah, along with this, a ton of other videos are coming out on the channel. So if you're a fan of Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, and Supernatural content, I would highly recommend subscribing to the channel. And when you do, turn on post notifications to get notified when a new video is uploaded about every other week or a week or so, like something like that. So yeah, let's get into today's video. It's probably not going to be too long. There's only 8 seasons, unlike Supernatural, which might be kind of long because there's 15 seasons. So yeah, we're going to start with season 1. And what do I think about season 1 of Vampire Diaries? I think it's pretty good. It's not a perfect season, but it's a good start to the show. Now, season 1, when I first watched it, and watching it on rewatches years later, I was like, the first season is okay, but I kind of feel like it misses the mark in a few places. There's a good introduction to Stefan, Damon, Elena, and pretty much all the other good characters. Matt's the only one who has a terrible introduction, and he's terrible the first season. He doesn't really do anything of significance that much, but the lore that's explained is great. The explanation of vampires, how they work in this universe, witches, and the tomb, all the stuff that goes on, learning about Catherine and how Stefan and Damon were turned into vampires and seeing their past with their dad and what it was like back in 1864. All that stuff was great to see on screen for the first time, and it has a pretty rock solid finale in Founders Day, in my opinion. And yeah, not much else to say about that. This season, the way Vampire Diaries works, a lot of you guys who watch the show may know this, but it's split into 3 increments, at least for the first season. So you have the Vicky Donovan arc, which is episodes 1 to 7, and I would say that arc was pretty good, really, really good. It's what kept me hooked on and watching the show. Then you have the freeing the tomb vampires and searching for Catherine, which was like episode 8 to like episode, I would say maybe 13, 14. Then you have the Founders Day and the John Gilbert Isabel arc, which is the remainder of season 1, which is about Elena's mom and stuff like that, blah blah blah, this and that, a whole bunch of other different stuff, which we'll talk about when we react to the episodes. But yeah, season 1's a pretty good season. I think it's justified being right in the middle at just good. Everybody, I think, I'm pretty sure everybody will agree with me that it's just good. It's not amazing or meh, it's just right in the middle. Now, season 2, on the other hand, this season is fucking awesome. It's one of, if not my favorite season of the show. Season 2 just does everything season 1 did, but amps the stakes and makes everything so much better, like by a large margin. It's not even close in comparison, the quality of season 1 going on to season 2. Season 2 is great for many reasons. It introduces the originals, although we don't get introduced to all of them until season 3. We get introduced to Elijah and Klaus this season. We get introduced to werewolves this season, even though the werewolves in the show are kind of bad. Teen Wolf does the werewolves way better than Vampire Diaries does them. The way Vampire Diaries does werewolves, it's kind of like Twilight, which I'm not really a fan of because Twilight is kind of ass. So yeah, we get introduced to Rose, and we see her little backstory, and we find out that she's the vampire that turned Catherine and stuff like that. And we also get introduced to the Sun and Moon curse. There's a lot of good drama between Alaric and Jenna this season. Stefan, Damon, and Elena, that little love triangle gets explored more this season. We see Catherine for the first time, put her plans into motion, turns Caroline into a vampire, which was awesome to see because I think Caroline serves better being a vampire than she did when she was human. And, season 2 is just really freaking great. The final 2 episodes are amazing, especially the penultimate episode, the episode that occurs before the actual finale. I think that episode is one of the best episodes of the entire show. It's emotional, made me cry numerous times watching it, and I hate seeing Klaus just get his way. Even though I love Joseph Morgan as Niklaus Michelson, he's one of the best characters in this entire universe, if not top 5. And finale this season, it was okay. I think the penultimate episode is definitely better than the finale. But what I'm gonna say about season 2 is a damn near perfect season with a great finale, better than season 1's because of the hype going into season 3, and it has a great premiere this season, better than the pilot in my opinion. And so season 2 of Vampire Diaries is definitely my personal favorite season of the show, and it's just great. Next season we have season 3, which I'm also going to give a perfect. I think that it's a little bit worse than season 2 because of its pacing, and a little bit of the issues I have with season 3 are just minor ones. But other than that, this is a damn near perfect season. It's just as good, if not a little tiny bit worse than 2 is. But this season is great. We see Stefan as a villain for the first time. We see Klaus just ripping apart the main characters for the entire season. The slogan for this season going into it was the year of the originals, and it really is the year of the originals because the originals steal the show this entire season. Elena becomes slightly more likable, but I still don't really like her just yet. Damon is great this season. Alaric is the main antagonist of this season. He was a pretty good villain for the most part. He was really, really good towards the end because he did cause a lot of damage, which had effects rippling into the 4th season of the show and going forward too, past season 4 actually. So Alaric did a lot of damage as a villain, and I like that. I think a villain, when he is a part of a season and he's a main antagonist, I think his impact should be long lasting, especially if you want to make him a great villain, and that's what Alaric was. The other originals being introduced, Cole, Finn, Rebecca, I thought their introduction was great, especially Rebecca. Rebecca is one of the standouts this season. She's a great character to follow. Just the overall story, just trying to kill and stop all the originals from just wreaking havoc on Mystic Falls, trying to take out Klaus once and for all, which they kind of managed to do a little bit. But Klaus always has one step up his sleeve, and Klaus is extremely smart. He knows how to cover his tracks, so obviously it didn't work long term. But and also the finale this season is one of the craziest finales, if not the most wild finale of the entire show. When I first saw it, the finale was the finale was crazy. And fun fact, the season 3 finale was actually the very first episode I watched from Vampire Diaries, so I kind of spoiled myself a little bit with the ending there. But the ending is definitely the craziest ending of the entire show for sure, aside from, I would say, maybe season 6 and season 8. So perfect season, Vampire Diaries season 3. Now next we have Vampire Diaries season 4, which I think is worse than season 4. Season 4. Worse than season 2 and 3, but I think it's still great. And this is the first season where I start to like Elena a lot. And it's also the season where Elena becomes a vampire for the first time, which was great to see because we got to see a completely different side of Elena, especially when she turned off her humanity, which made her a really, really fun and likable character to follow for, those episodes where she had her humanity turned off. And, Stefan and Elena break up this season. It was hard to watch because you saw them grow together for 3 seasons now, and to see that fall apart and Stefan just being on his own for a majority of the season, it was hard, man. And Damon finally got what he wanted. He got Elena, and Elena realized her true love is not Stefan, it's Damon. So it was cool to see Damon finally get what he wanted too, but I kind of felt bad for Stefan at the same time. Now, the main story for this season is finding the cure to cure Elena of her vampirism. And, you know, Silas is introduced this season. We have Professor Shane, who I'm not really too fond of. He's an okay character. He's kind of weird and eccentric, but he's pretty cool for the most part. I think Cole coming back for those few episodes and being a really intimidating villain was amazing. It was great to see him for the episodes that he was in this season for. And I think that the finale this season is okay. Graduation, you know, it's nice to see them all graduate from high school. And, you know, the fact that we actually got to see the graduation on screen was tough too. And, you know, there's a major death this season, which was crazy when I first saw it. I did not expect it to happen. And it was wild because that character doesn't come back for a while. So, yeah, not going to spoil it because I want to get to it when I get to the reactions for season 4. And if you guys cannot spoil who dies in season 4, if you already seen the show and you know who it is, don't spoil it for everybody else who is interested and curious about watching. Please keep that to yourself for now. Any spoilers that I spot in the comment section, I will immediately delete, and you will probably get blocked from the channel. So yeah, no spoilers, please, in the comments down below. Now, next season is season 5. Now, personally, I think season 5 was the worst season of the show. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but it's not good or great either. It's just meh. Now, the beginning of season 5 was amazing. It started off really, really freaking well. It was awesome seeing Silas do his thing, seeing Katsia for the first time, seeing how, you know, their backstory played out in their history, and then finding out about the fourth doppelganger of Elena, Amara, and how she was the key to the other side and stuff like that. Learning that entire history was awesome to see. The first 7 episodes of season 5 are great. Then we have the Augustine vampire stuff, which I'm just like, bro, that I could have done without that. That was kind of boring, to be honest. Max, or was his name Max? I'm not sure, but the Whitmore guy who was doing the Augustine vampire experiments, he was kind of just, oh my god, bro, I hated him so much. I was so glad when Damon finally killed him. Spoiler for that. I know I said no spoilers, but I don't really care about that character, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people don't either, so I'm pretty sure that spoiler is okay. But then we get into the death of so-and-so. I'm not going to mention that character, but I think her death was handled really well. But it's extended because of, you know, this character. She's really smart. She has plans. She likes to manipulate people a lot. So, yeah, I thought that little arc was cool. And then the end of the season is what kind of drags the season down as a whole for me. The Travelers, when they get introduced, it's really boring. It makes season 5 kind of unbearable to watch. I don't care for any of those freaking episodes. And the finale this season is probably the second craziest finale aside from season 3's finale, because this finale was absolutely wild. I mean, characters die, characters come back to life. The ending, you just see a white screen. It's insane. You don't know what the hell is going to happen the season after, which is season 6. So yeah, absolutely wild finale. Home is one of the craziest finales I've ever seen in television history. Has to be top 5 at least all time. So yeah, that's season 5 of Vampire Diaries for me. Now, next we have another personal favorite of mine, which I'm going to put in the phenomenal/perfection, which is Vampire Diaries season 6. Now, season 5 was the worst season of the show, in my opinion, and I think that season 6 is one of the best seasons of the show, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Malachi Parker, Chris Wood steals the entire season for me. He is better than Klaus, in my opinion, as a villain. Klaus was really entertaining until season 6. He held the spot for the best Vampire Diaries villain of all time. But I think Kai steals that spot easily with how insane he was this season. And I think that out of all the villains on Vampire Diaries, Kai had the most impact because, spoiler for this season, But you guys probably could already tell from the posters on season 7 and 8. But this is Elena Gilbert's final season as a main character. Something that Kai does causes her to leave the show. She doesn't die, so you don't have to worry about that. But she is technically out of the show as a main character after this season because of Kai and what he does. And what Kai did impacts pretty much all of season 7 and 8. So Kai as a main villain had an impact for pretty much the final remainder of the show, because what he did was basically the main goal of everybody after this season to kind of reach by the end of the show, which they did achieve and I'll get to that when we get to season 8. But yeah, I think all the drama this season is really good. The Parker family in general, getting to know them, getting to know the backstory with Kai, how he became a psychopath and stuff like that. I think that was amazing, and I think season 6 is just great. There's nothing I personally see wrong with it. I know a lot of people think that without Kai, season 6 would be one of the weaker seasons, and I kind of agree with them, but there's not really an episode this season, which I think is boring. And this episode, to be honest, this season, to be honest, has one of the greatest character deaths in television history, and it had me crying for 3 hours, because this was the first season of Vampire Diaries I was watching on TV live, and when I saw the death of that specific character live on television when it happened, I swear on everything, I cried for like 3 hours. So yeah, season 6 is great. Now, this is probably the last season that's going to go in phenomenal perfection, because we have season 7, which I think is just season 7 I'm mixed on, because a lot of it was okay, but some of it was just like, I didn't freaking care. I think I'm going to put Vampire Diaries season 7 in good. Season 7 was good because we had the heretics introduced this season. Stefan and Damon's mom came back. We find out she's a vampire. We deal with them for the first half of the season, and then this other vampire dickhead named Julian comes, and then after that whole plot arc gets resolved, which was kind of anticlimactic in my opinion, we start to deal with the Reina Cruz arc, which takes up the remainder of the rest of the season. And Reina Cruz as a villain was okay. I didn't really like her that much. She was intimidating, don't get me wrong. She was a badass, but I didn't really care for her character that much. And, dealing with the armory's introduction, finding out that Alaric's kids are still alive, blah, 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 this and that. I think this season was definitely a mixed bag. Plus, it kind of felt like something was taken away from the show a little bit, with Elena not being a part of this season, and Jeremy as well as Tyler leaving the show. So yeah, definitely took a hit after Elena left the show. Even though Stefan and Damon technically are the actual true main characters of the show, I feel like a season with them was great. The season with them as the main characters was great, but I think like everything surrounding them was just okay, to be honest. And last but not least, we have season 8 of Vampire Diaries, which I'm going to put in. It's not great, but it's not bad. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it meh. Now, season 8 of Vampire Diaries, in my opinion, is an okay season. The series finale was absolutely fire. It was fucking amazing. I think that the sacrifice of that specific character in that episode was awesome to see. The ending was definitely better than Teen Wolf's by a large margin. There's not even a contest between which ending was better. But everything else before, Stefan and Damon being bad guys this season, the deaths of certain characters, certain story arcs coming to an end, it was kind of meh the way they kind of handled it. And then Arcadius being the main villain, Satan, the ruler of hell, in the introduction of sirens this season with Sybil and Celine. I think they should have been the main villains of this season, actually, because they were pretty entertaining to watch, and I was actually interested in learning more about them and their deal with Cade, and just learning more about what the sirens actually are and their role in this universe, other than just having Stefan and Damon working for Cade and blah blah blah, this and that, and so on and so forth. I think that Catherine as the final villain of the show, we kind of expected it, but not really, because she had been dead for like 3 seasons, and I mean, it was kind of anticlimactic the way she went out. But it was nice to see Vicky Donovan again play a major role in this season, actually, as well as Matt's mom Kelly. And I think season 8 is the best season that Matt is in. He's utilized to the fullest degree in this season, and he's probably one of the most important characters to stopping what happens at the end. And Bonnie is too, and we find out that Bonnie is way more powerful than we actually thought she was. I mean, she creates her own freaking pocket universe, which was absolutely insane to watch. And that type of level of power trumps anything we've ever seen in Teen Wolf. I mean, what character in Teen Wolf can create their own pocket universe? That's absolutely insane. So, yeah, just a mass season with a great series finale, great ending. Stefan and Caroline's wedding was even great this season. I liked it until it got ruined by blah blah blah, and this and that what happened. But I'm rambling on at this point. That is all 8 seasons of Vampire Diaries ranked from worst to best. Let me know how you guys liked this ranking. Do you guys like all my placements? Do you guys hate them? Are you guys mixed, lukewarm on them? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with that all said, I'm Jade's Corner. I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, and positivity as always, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Make sure you leave a like, as I mentioned before, comment, subscribe if you like Vampire Diaries content, Teen Wolf content, and Supernatural content. Will be up on the channel every other week or every week. It's kind of random at this point, but I have an official schedule for 2021. So next year it will be more organized. And turn on post notifications so that you're notified when I post a new video, whenever I do, so that you don't miss it when it comes in your YouTube, inbox or whatever. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, and positivity, and I'm out this thing. See you guys on the next one.